Hi guys, I was going to do a long drawn out video on how to assemble these helicopters, but they are actually so simple that I didn't bother. But here's just some tips. Print yourself a scrap piece of 2-layer height material, because we're going to cut that up and use those as braces. And the first thing you're going to do is just tape everything together before you glue anything, just to line everything up. Make sure that there's no gaps here, because if you take the hood off and you just glue the bottom part on, you might glue it slightly skew. It can happen. So I always just tape it up like this. Then I know everything fits, all the lines fit, and you've got some nice tight joins. The back piece, that just pops on, so that you could basically glue in. The tail piece, that just pops in, you can glue that in. I haven't decided whether I'm going to screw this tail piece in or glue it in. That's up to you. The fin also is a very tight fit. You might want to just sand the corners so that it slides in. But it's a nice tight fit, so just a little bit of glue from the inside gives you a nice clean finish. Right, so now if you've done this route and you've taped it up, yeah, make sure you have tape on the outsides of where you're going to put the glue, so that the glue doesn't seep through. What I now would do personally, through the windows, I will just drop a couple of drops of CA glue on the joints on the inside. So down here, just a couple of drops to hold it. Yeah, particularly maybe on the corners here, so it doesn't warp. Then you can remove this and glue it in properly. Cut yourself some strips of the scrap stuff, put it over the joins, and that makes a nice strong join. Now this particular helicopter has been designed so that during battery change only this front piece pops off. Yeah, the body pins are supplied, so the 4 body pins or the 3 body pins will go into this piece, and then there's a clip in front here that you need to put in. And this piece also has 4 body pins. You would basically fit that because you need this opening to slide your electronics in. But during normal use this will stay. And then you print yourself a couple of these clips that are in the kit, and you can just clip the hood, the back part of the hood onto the body, so that it stays in place. There's no need to glue this at all. That's why I've put this little ridge inside there. Yeah, like that. And you just put the body clips, and that stays like that. Then that's done. So print yourself, let's say 5, 6, 10 of these, and then during battery change you're just removing this front piece there. So I'm going to go ahead now and glue this as I've described, and then I'll get back to you. Right, well, I've glued this together now. And I put some tabs there, as you can see. And I've put some tabs there, and that should be plenty good enough. Okay, to fit this front clip, that one, I would glue on that tab first onto this, so that you can just line up to the center as close as possible, glue it on. Then line up your hood nicely. What's most important is that this is flush here. The depth is not all that important. And then you can turn that in and glue it to the bottom half, so then you know that that will always line up. So my pins are in. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there we go. And my clips are on, and that holds this all together very nice. Now I've just printed myself 10 pins, because you might need to, well, you will need to just remount the holes so that particularly these slide in easily, otherwise you're going to battle to get this off later. Then I also have my pins glued on here. I've got my little clip there, I have my clip there, and I've got my 3 holes also reamed out nicely, not too loose and not too tight. And if you've done everything well, then this will remain in place. That will all line up, and you will clip this in like that, and that'll never come out, and everything is nice and square, lines up nicely. Now you will have noticed that I haven't yet glued my tail on, because that is very easy. It just basically pops into place like that. Like that, you glue it in. But I want to access the rear to fit this, but I have to first do the electronics, and then I can glue that piece into place exactly where it needs to go. So I'll see you when I've done that. Right, you can go ahead and glue this motor plates together, but don't glue it in, because we're going to fit the electronics first. And just be mindful, this only actually fits one way. One of these is taller, one of them is shorter. It doesn't matter which side you glue it, because it'll only fit one way. So that goes in there. And if all is calculated correctly, okay, I just have it the wrong way now. So that didn't fit. Let's turn it around. There we go. So if all is good and well, this should line up with the back of the landing gear mount. But we're not going to glue it in, but that's the theory. I want to fit the electronics first, make sure the shaft is in the center, because I can, if I need to, move this a little bit up and down, but not much. But it's designed, I believe, to glue in place like that. But don't glue it in, because you have to drill some holes and put some other parts in first. So, but I'll see you when I'm busy with that. Okay, so now's the time to line up everything. Make sure that your shaft is in the center. Of everything. Line it up nicely. And the back left and right is not the most important at the moment. What's more important is that you just put a piece of tape there exactly where that chassis is going to go. I've also marked 2 holes of the center of the screw, but we're not going to drill there. I'll show you what we do next. So you remove the whole chassis plate now, and you line this up to your marks that you made. You make sure that it's centered there, and then you mark those holes with a pencil and drill a 3mm hole through that. Okay, so after you've drilled the holes, you can glue these 2 parts at the bottom. So that gives the screw something to bite into. And you can go ahead and mount your chassis, your electronics, but just put a piece of tape underneath exactly in line with the back plate, because you don't want to be gluing the back plate on. And we're going to use these now. Yeah, we're going to glue them onto the back here. Oops. But right against the chassis, so they touch the chassis on both sides. And then once those are glued in, when you pull this out and you fit it, it'll line up exactly with that. So you can go ahead and do that. So the tape is just there so that you don't glue this to your carbon fiber. So you should be left with this now. So now you can at any time take your chassis, slide it in, bolt it down. So now you can go ahead, put this back in here. I would just check that everything fits, and if you're happy, you can go ahead and glue this in, and remember it goes on the other side of this, flush against there. Okay, find yourself 2 small suitable screws, and you can go ahead and screw this on. Mind that this is up the top, and then you can bolt your chassis back into place and go ahead and glue that into place, and you should, with a bit of luck, be able to, for removal, get to those screws just through here. If not, you might have to put 2 small holes there, but that's up to you. Okay, well, there she is in all her glory. But in comparison to the bell, pretty much the same size, you know, roughly. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but anyway, all up weight with a 3000, a beautiful 1350 grams. So I'm going to go test fly it now, and this one definitely getting a paint job. Okay, so there we go. I've just put my last coat of matte clear coat on. Gonna let that dry for a day or 2, and then the windows are very easy to do on this one. So yeah, let's see your builds. Very keen to see. Thank you very much.